my name is Rob and welcome to Metal Monthly. This is a video series where we talk about everything that happened in metal music over the past month. It's laid back, it's chill, I have a drink, we're going to talk about some albums, some things that happened, my website, and we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff. This, by the way, is an old fashioned because I've got really into cocktails and I like whiskey. Oh, that is good. Shall we start? Albums. What albums were released in November? First off, Bullet for My Valentine, Bullet for My Valentine. This is the new album from Bullet for My Valentine. I actually saw Bullet for My Valentine a few weeks ago touring this album. It's thrashy, it's heavy, it's heavier than their older stuff and I quite like it. I wasn't a big fan of the old Bullet. This is pretty good. I do think it's weird that this is the band's 7th album and this is the one that they choose to self-title. I guess it's because they're going in a different direction with the sound and they want to try and mark that by saying that we're Bullet for My Valentine. It's weird. But whatever, let's carry on. If you're already a fan of Bullet, this may not be the kind of album for you. But if, like me, you weren't a big fan of their old stuff, definitely check this album out, because you may like it more, like I did. Next up, Betrayal of Guilt, Christfucker. Did I choose to listen to this album purely because of the name of the album? Yes, but I am pretty glad that I did. Now online, this band is classed as hardcore punk, and this album is not that. But apparently I've read that this album is quite a departure from their old sound, so maybe they were more hardcore punk in the past. This album is more like black metal, although it does become more like hardcore punk when the speed comes in and you get the drums. It definitely sounds more like hardcore punk then. Honestly, it's a short album and it goes through a lot of different styles of music. It's very weird. It's an experience of an album. I definitely would recommend checking it out just to see maybe if it's your kind of thing. If you're thinking, oh, maybe I should check that out, it probably is going to be your kind of thing. Next up, The Darkness, Motorheart. Can someone tell me, when did The Darkness change from being a joke band to being a band? This is a pretty decent, competent rock/metal album. It's still obviously The Darkness because of Justin Hawkins' vocals, but it's a good album. I got into it. I will listen to it again. I think the band has moved away from being a guilty pleasure to just being a pleasure. It's got that classic rock sound down, but it's still distinctive enough that you can enjoy it and it doesn't just become like background noise. Definitely give this album a listen and see what you think and see if it changes your notion of what The Darkness sound like. And finally we have Exodus, Persona Non Grata. This is a thrash band who started in 1979 and are still making phenomenal music. Kind of like being the 5th Beatle, Exodus are like the 5th band of the big 4 thrash bands. It's just that for some reason everybody always ignores them. So this album is heavy and thrashy, the vocals can be a little bit more raspy and rough, and it kind of pushes the music more towards the extreme metal end of the spectrum. Overall, I think it's a really, really good thrash album and everybody should listen to it, and it just proves that Exodus may be 42 years old, but are still making absolutely incredible music. Next up we have Deaths. This is where we just remember and honour the people who have died who worked in the metal industry. First up, on November the 18th, Mic Rock, a photographer who shot a lot of rock and metal bands, known as the man who shot the 70s, sadly passed away at the age of 72. So I was going through some of his pictures to see what kind of stuff he took, and you know Queen 2? You know that? He took that picture. The guy was amazing. Next up, on November the 19th, Hank Von Hell, former vocalist of Dr. Midnight and the Mercy Cult, sadly passed away at the age of 49. And finally, on November the 24th, Garrett O'Donnell, vocalist of Planes Mistaken for Stars, passed away at the very young age of 44. Next up we have Music Festival Explorer. This is my website where I write about music festivals and metal music and just anything within that sphere. This month I have written a blog post on how to stay comfortable at festivals, because music festivals are not exactly known as being places where you can get all nice and cozy, but there are certain things you can do to make your experience better. And because I've now turned 30, this is the kind of thing I care about. There is a link in the description, please do check it out, I would appreciate it. And finally we have the fun stories from November. First of all, we have a few bands that reformed, which I think is fun and therefore counts. So Mystic Circle, the German black metal band, and Porcupine Tree, the English rock band, both reformed. That's very good news. Next up, Brass Against are a band who do covers of rock and metal songs. At a festival performance recently, the lead singer Sophia Ulster needed to go to the toilet but didn't have time to get there and come back. So she got a fan on stage and peed on his face. She said beforehand, "Get my man with the can on his head ready because we're going to bring him on stage and I'm a piss in this motherfucker's mouth." The band has since apologised for the incident, saying, quote, We had a great time last night at Welcome to Rockville. Sophia got carried away. That's not something the rest of us expected, and it's not something you'll see again at our shows, which I think is the funniest tweet I've read in 2021. And finally, a Metallica fan has created a life-size toilet in the shape of Lars Ulrich. Sorry, I know this is 2 toilet-themed stories in a row, but trust me, this is amazing. The creator, Prince Midnight, who is from Florida, because of course he is, has actually been featured on Now Monthly before, when he made a guitar from the skeleton of his uncle. So this is the Lars Ulrich toilet, and it's terrifying, I think we can all agree. But it's also oddly sexual. Like, you need to sit in his lap with your pants down to do your business. It's the weirdest thing. So it's weird, but I kind of love it, and I just hope that Prince Midnight continues to do weird, oddball things in the future, because his brain is incredible, and I just want to see what he comes up with next. That's everything from me. Thanks so much for watching. If you ever see an album has come out, or if you see something within the world of metal and you want to know my take on it, tweet me at OverEdgeKid on Twitter, and I'll probably put it in a future episode of this. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. My name is Rob, and I will see you next month.